Hey detailers, podcast sponsor Joe here from Auto Fiber Australia. As pro detailers, we are all about using the highest quality products for our customers when it comes to compounds, chemicals, and ceramic coatings. But what about microfiber? Are you using cheap towels that get used once and then tossed into the bin? You need to try out our amazing Auto Fiber range of microfiber. Seriously, it is the best stuff going around. Use our exclusive podcast code 15DDUP and get 15% off when you purchase any of our premium Korean or Chinese made microfiber. We have a wide range of products that are tailor-made to last a long haul, so you get the best value for money and your customers will appreciate it. Go to autofiber.com.au or find us on Instagram to make your purchase and check out our range. Now back to the podcast.
Welcome to the Detailing Down Under podcast, the place for everything auto detailing in Australia right now. Here's your host, Dale Guthrie.
G'day and welcome to the Detailing Down Under podcast. I'm your host, Dale Guthrie. We're back again, and this week we carry on from the last episode we were doing in regards to hiring employees in business development. So if you haven't listened to part one with Joe and Glyn, just head back and check out that one, and that'll probably give you a fair guide to what we're going to talk about in the next half. So we pretty much take off where we left from earlier on, so from part one episode. So it's got some really good feedback from a few listeners, which was really good, and I passed it on to the boys to let them know their efforts was well deserved. So hopefully we hear a bit more and hear what else we had to chat about, which was good. So so we hope to do a few more of these in the future as well, with a little bit more of a twist as well. So but if you haven't listened to or seen already that I was away for the weekend, as I'm recording this now, there was a weekend just gone, so I went up to Adelaide. Matt Gibb, a good friend of the podcast, invited me up. He was running a little bit of a mini training session, as you so want to call it, and it was sort of just a small sort of private gathering of just a few local Adelaide guys up there that were detailers as well, so which was really good, and got to meet quite a few, which was even better. So it was a good little turnout, and what we call it was pizzas, paints and polish. So pretty fun night had by all. So we ordered a few pizzas and had a couple of drinks as well. So it was even better. So now we had it was really good. We had Peter from Mercer, Australia. So he travelled all the way from Victoria. He's a distributor for the Mercer sanding and polishing products. So they their main industry is in the panel beating side, in the panel shop game. So, but quite a lot of their products do cross over into detailing. So a lot of sanding and some awesome machines as well. The Mercer brand of polisher, I have heard they're a little 2-inch polisher, but it's I'd say don't knock it till you try it. I'd heard about it and heard how good and expensive they were. I thought it'd be cool to check it out. And I think I heard the comment earlier about the Rolls-Royce polishers. They're unbelievable, so smooth, balanced, quiet, and just so much torque from such a little machine. And even the comments from the guys, there's no competition against it. But yes, they are very expensive, so, and they do have their place in the industry, but probably not for everyone. But if you get a chance to try one, definitely check it out. It's you'll see what I mean, and a lot of other guys that were there on the night definitely agreed how impressive it is as a machine. So, but it was such a pretty good night. So I think Matty's planning on doing it again. So we're not sure where he's going to head with it, but he's definitely knows his craft and polishing and sanding and that, and was passing on a few tips and showing a few guys what he knows. So it was good eye opener, and I think it's good for the industry to have more networking like that. Wasn't too serious. We're all just chatting around and standing around chatting and talking about different techniques, what we do and how business runs. And yeah, we had Alex from High Life Films and Coatings. Sorry, mate. And Australian Professional Details with his YouTube channel. He was there doing some filming as well. So yeah, it was good to catch up with him again. And yeah, we're talking a lot about PPF as well. He's very well into that. So yeah, so if you're there, it was good. So yeah. But anyway, enough about that. We'll hook into part 2 and we'll finish this episode off. And but thanks again for listening, everyone, and we'll chat to you shortly. Thank you. Enjoy. Probably one other thing on all that is, do you raise your prices if you don't want the job?
I have before.
Yeah.
Sure.
At the beginning, I was just going to say I think I mentioned about being booked out so far in advance. And if you are, put your prices up. Do yourself a favor. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
you know, like, because like they come to you because either cheap and you do a really good job, which is fantastic. But it's like, put your prices up there. I mean, it's supply demand. When something's on short supply, the price goes up because there's a high demand, right? Like you should do that too. And not like double the price overnight, but slowly in increments, you know, like and all wages go up every year. A lot of things go. All my suppliers put up prices every year, mostly. I don't know about you, Glenn, but I think not all suppliers, but you know, some things just keep going up. And put your prices up. And I think, like, Dale, you don't do interiors, or you don't like to, or I think you don't really advertise it. Like,
I don't advertise them.
Don't advertise something you don't want to do. Like if you really don't want to do it, like,
or
you
don't
know,
post
and it's
the car
okay
that
to
you
say
don't
no.
want more of.
Exactly. Yeah. But you were going to say something, Glenn. Sorry.
No, I was just, I can't remember what I was going to say, but I agree with that. Like, yeah, if you're booked out 3 weeks or 4 weeks, add tack $50 on the next one you quote and see if you get it. Cool. If you do it again. Like, just I definitely up your prices. If you've got work there and you know you've got some you've got work up your sleeve and it's not all dried up, absolutely put some pricing up and see what lands and what doesn't. You'll quickly find that, oh shit, you know what, $350 for that was maybe a bit too much, and I haven't won, you know, out of the last 5 phone calls, I've only gotten one of them. Whereas normally I probably get half. You'll know what feels right straight away. Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's always room to put your prices up.
Yeah. And because we have team now that they quote, like I don't have to quote jobs. They might come to me for advice and, you know, Joe, what would you do? What would you quote for this? How long do you reckon it'd take? But like I tell our team, like, always quote high, because you can always bring the price down. You'll always look amazing. Your customer will love you if you say, hey, look, we know we quoted high because we've had job in the past very similar to like they're required to be, you know, charged this much, but we actually will drop the price down $100. It's so much easier to do that than to ring the customer and say, hey, we need to charge more for your car because of X, Y, Z. You know, there's always a bit of friction depending on the relationship with the customer. So it's much better relief if you can say, oh, I actually did really well at this job. You know, I can put my price down. But sometimes too, like, don't discredit yourself. Like, just because you do a job really quick, that doesn't mean you should charge $50 an hour or $100 an hour, whatever your hourly rate is, because it's like it took you 5 years to figure out how to get that job done so quick. Yep. And that's what I've been teaching our team. It's like, they say, oh, Joe, I feel bad if we charge this much. I'm like, well, it's like, well, you know, you've costed me this much all this time. Well, I'm not going to talk about that. But it's like, you know, look, yeah, we only took half an hour to do that. But you know how many years and how many things we've broken and how many things we've burnt through to figure that awesome process out.
Yeah.
That came at, it's actually cost all this much to be able to do it in this speed. So we're charging this much money for that because that's what it's worth.
Yeah. We're very much
makes sense.
Yeah, we're very much of the same, like that latter side, like latter comment that you made, that we, like, if we quote something, unless like there's been a discussion up front, like I think like if you do think about like sticker removal or like, you know, vinyl stickers down the sides of a van or something like that, there's definitely some unknown there, so we always have that conversation up front, right? You know, we've got an allowance of from here to here, it's going to be somewhere in that ballpark of, you know, your hourly rate by, you know, however many hours you think it might be, and add 2 more on the end just as an extreme measure.
Absolutely.
But you have those conversations, but at the same time, more often than not, or I would say at least 90% of the time, whatever we quote, we stick to, because it reinforces with the customer that one, it's all good and well to give them $100 back at the end of the job, and they will be thankful for that. I agree, but at the same time, they're going to be pissed off if you ask for $100 more. So I
That's
think
right.
that it's definitely give and take. And so if you're quoting something, unless you haven't seen it yet, you tell them,
Yeah.
it's going to be between
Communication,
this
hey.
dollar and this dollar value. And then whatever you agree to once the car arrives and the customer's there in front of you, that you stick to it. I think that goes a long way.
Yeah. Like a perfect example, right? Like we had a black Porsche Taycan get dropped off, and yesterday Arvo to be done today. And I quickly looked up the job and I was like, oh, that's right. It's actually not fully brand new, and Porsche paint is really hard, and it can be very difficult it can be very time consuming to achieve a really good swirl finish result. And I don't know what this guy's expectations are. So I grabbed him and said, hey, man, just want to let um, if you're expecting like all the swirls now, I'm not too sure where you're at. I just had a good discussion with him. And a short story is that I just sort of we'll let you know how it goes, because notoriously these can be really heavily swirled and won't just normally come out with, because he just got the standard machine polish enhancement package. He didn't go for the paint correction. So I was just letting him know, and he was just like, okay, yeah, no worries, just call me tomorrow. Yeah, and if you think it needs more to achieve like a really,
Yeah.
really good result, because he's like, I actually do want to look like, I want to get all the swirls out. And I was like, all right, cool, that's really good to know. And I gave him like a rough idea, and then I looked over this morning, and there's swirls, there's holograms, there's someone's buffed it already.
It's cooked, yeah.
So it's like cool. I can call him in confidence, knowing that he'll be okay with the conversation. And it does come down to communicate. Communication is so important. I believe you're better to over communicate than not communicate enough. Because it will pay off. It just safeguards you.
If we reflect back on problems that we've had in the past, it could have been handled by communication at the beginning. But almost 9 times out of 10. I can't attest to that enough. Like, over communicating the second there's a problem, or there's an issue, bring it up with the customer. Actually, we've got same sort of thing. We've got a car in the shop at the moment. We're doing a full wrap on. It's a car that it's got like 7,000 Ks on it. It's relatively new in the grand scheme of things. It's sat under a car cover outside, and so on that particular side of the car that gets all of the sun, there's paint damage down one side of the vehicle. And as soon as we got the car washed and clean, and then we're like, okay, let's work out what are we gonna do here. And we've got a painter involved that we work back and forth with nearby us, and he's like, look, it can be painted, but I would have a go at buffing it first. I'm like, not doing that until we have a conversation with the customer. And we came to an agreement. Cool. We're gonna try and tackle this for you, but it's all care, no responsibility. Like, if we go through, it causes more issues, it has to be repainted anyway. Well, then you're accepting that's what's going to be the outcome.
Yeah.
If you're cool with that, we'll proceed. Otherwise, here's your key. Here's your keys, Mr. Customer. I can't take this problem on. It's all over communication for sure.
Never assume.
Yeah.
Never assume the customer knows. Like, I've made that mistake so many times, and I've been teaching our team, like, don't assume the customer knows about that. Like you just cannot do it. Like you lose every time. Like, because you never win. Like, if you're in a conversation with the customer, and because you thought that they knew that that panel would not come up that good because it was blatantly had clear coat failure, you cannot assume that they know that it won't polish out beautifully. Like, you need to have some kind of conversation. You got to really build the parameters of the job you're doing, especially with coatings. You can't assume that people think that coatings will never get water spotted and will never get scratched. Like, there's people out there that think ceramic coatings are a deflector shield of Star Wars, that Darth Vader himself will come and use the Force and fight off that rain. You can't assume that people think that PPF wraps every edge and that even the film won't get chipped. We've had people assume that, and so it's like my job as a business is to educate people about limitations. This is what you're going to get. And this is what you're not going to get. This is what PPF does, but this is what it doesn't do.
Mm.
And so they can come in knowing that this is what I'm getting, this is what I'm not getting. I understand, and yeah, it's much better moving forward.
Setting
for sure.
setting expectations, really.
Yeah, that's right, mate. Yeah.
You know, I'm learning that now with the film side of things now. It was with coatings. Now people are learning what film is in my area, and they're like this and that and what to expect. And yeah, so it's a
Yeah, for sure.
whole new world.
PPF's a hard game to learn, eh? Like it's
Yes.
it's more of a mental battle than a physical battle.
Yeah.
I don't know,
No,
like
absolutely.
it's yeah. And now you know why people don't last long. And we're still new to it. Like we've only been doing it for a year, maybe not even that. No, it's about a year now. And it's like, yeah, you just got to change the way you think. You got to really level up, and communication has to be on point.
Your detailing hat has to come off and your PPF hat has to go on. It's definitely
Oh
a different game for sure. Although the
Yep.
detailing aspects of it as a foundation is great, it doesn't mean shit in PPF.
Yeah, it's not going to save you. Yeah,
No.
that's for sure.
No,
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
And that's where the business owner hat comes out too. It's like the communicator, the person talking to the customer, like not making all these promises you can't keep. Like you need to be able to run it. Like in like this is from my experience anyway. Like from what I know, this is what I've had to do. So if you're already doing PPF and you're killing it, then great. Like good on you. I honestly am so happy for you. But I just found that I've had to. I think probably because when we have other people doing the PPF, like I haven't wrapped a car for 6 months. I haven't touched PPF. So I've trained
Yeah.
up team. Then my team have trained another team member. I'm just there supporting, cutting film on the plotter. And now I just taught them how to do that. So I'm doing myself out of a job. Like I'll be putting in, you know what, you need someone to work for you, Glenn. I'll send you a resume. Oh, jeez. But I think that was a question, right? Like, should you employ a contractor or something, like someone who's got a side business? That was a good question. We could answer later if there's time.
yeah. Do you hire with or was it with experience?
Someone doing detailing on the side.
And there was the other one, yeah, with the detailing on the side. So
I'll be back in 1 second. You go for it, Joe.
Yeah. Do you hire someone who's got a business already? Look, I think like short term, if you're thinking purely short term, that's all you're going to get, because at the end of the day, they're going to come work for you. They're most likely going to have their ways of doing stuff, and it's going to be really hard to get them out of their ways, no matter what you say and do. And they're a business owner. If they got a side gig, they're a bit of an entrepreneur like yourself. So it's like you might clash a little bit. They might be really set in their ways. And ultimately, they want to grow their business. So it's silly for us to think that they're not going to take your ideas and bring it to their own business. So you just have to be real with yourself. And I've tried to convince myself sometimes, I will, offer them something really good that they'll turn their business down, and that they'll just come work for me. That they'll decide not to run their business anymore. You can't force someone to do that. If they're an entrepreneur, they want to run their own gig, they're most likely going to just grow it, and then they'll be detailing right next to you. So I would say no, don't employ someone, or don't get them on as a contractor or whatever to work for you, because it's really hard for them to have the vision that you want to have, because they're ultimately going to be caring for themselves, and so they'll want the best for their business that they're running. Yeah, I think yeah, cool. You got it.
That's exactly what we've found, the exact same thing. You're either here with us or you're doing your own thing. There's no in between. On the same vein, like we've had other detailers come in on a subcontract basis. We've overbooked a week and we're in trouble, and just need, please just sit on a polisher and get that sorted for us. Guys that you know whose work is good. That's a different ball game or different question, I guess. But it's a hard and fast rule for us now. Having learnt firsthand, if they have their own detailing business already, I'm not interested.
Yeah, especially if you're trying to grow your business, it's going to be good for a little bit, and then all of a sudden there's time for them to leave, and they'll take everything they've learned from you and add it to their business, and that's okay. Like, who doesn't do that? Like, look at apprentices. Most apprentices, like electricians and plumbers and mechanics. Many electricians, I think, they do their apprenticeship, they learn, they work for their current boss for a year, and then boom, they run their own gig. Like, how's that for you? How's like,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for
It's the
sure.
same thing in our. Why is it different in our industry? It's not. And so don't be all offended if you employ someone or you hire someone who does that to you. Like you're the guy that let them in your business.
Yeah,
You
that's
just
right.
tell them, you just let them in. So it's like Troy.
Yeah, I agree. Like I also don't have a problem with like helping someone or like teaching them some
Absolutely, yeah,
stuff. Yeah, that's all super beneficial, I think, for both parties. Even like down the track, you
yeah,
don't know what might happen in 2 years' time where,
that's
you're
right.
now, niche down into this very specific thing and that's all you do. And you've got someone that you can call because, you train them, you know how they work and blah, blah, blah. You've got someone else that you can handball work to because you know that the outcome's going to be good. As much as it doesn't reflect on you directly, it still has some reflection on you in some way. So yeah, it's not all
Yeah,
negative.
and it comes back to character, right? Like if you know the guy's trustworthy and you get along well, then and he's got good character in line with your moral compass and all that, then yeah, good. You
Mm,
work with them, that's great. But if you
yeah.
don't know them and they're new to the scene, then no, it's good. It's not good at all. Like I remember when I was just mobile, new into it, I had a collapsed lung. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, I was out of action for like 2 or 3 weeks. And then another detailer who's Dusty, I think he runs System X, really, really nice guy. I literally got Dusty, asked him to look after my clientele. But I couldn't do anything. So he looked after my clients, like serviced them regular detailing for like 2 or 3 weeks. And then I came back on and it was good. Like customers still stay with me. So it's like he had the opportunity to like take them on, steal them, all that kind of stuff.
Mm,
Like I trusted that he wouldn't, but like that goes to show his character. And so we built this great relationship onwards from there. And then when he sold his I think when he finished up, he ended up like referring a few people to us. We've just built this great relationship, and where you just have this respect for each other. You're not like we don't use his codings, but it's like I know I could call him and he'd be keen to have a chat. And yeah,
yeah.
it's like work together. Don't try to work against each other. There's gonna be times where Glenn and I will probably give quotes to one customer, and they're gonna have to choose between me and Glenn.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like I wouldn't even know. There'll be times that Glenn doesn't know, or maybe Glenn knows, but I have no idea, or maybe I know and Glenn doesn't know. And there's been times where I've told people, look, if you're fishing around and you're jumping around ship to everyone, just go with them. Like I don't want to be involved in this
Yeah.
competing thing,
Bidding
like because
war.
that's not what we're about. Bidding war, yeah. It's like
Mm.
it's
Yeah.
not gonna benefit anyone except for you.
Yeah, that's right.
So and it's like if you're gonna be like that to people, then I don't know if I want to do your car.
Yeah, no, I agree. We'll give him a price. That's our price. If you gonna shop around for the $100 saving, then you're probably not our customer in the first place. You either wanted to use us because
Yeah,
you want to use us, or you're just trying to, a race to the bottom.
Mm.
Um,
yeah,
and I find it a lot now with codings more than anything. It's definitely somewhat of a race to the bottom. Unless they're
yeah.
educated enough or they're choosing you for a specific reason. Yeah, it's yeah,
So true.
it is. Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. I probably a one about we're probably talking about when to bring on someone, but is there a reasonable weekly turnover to safely bring someone on? So that
I
in
don't think so.
regards to it's more about you talking about being booked out for so long.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I think revenue's like I don't know, bit of a wank factor, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
Like I don't
yeah.
hold that in any regard
You
whatsoever
can do
with
$1 million
regards to
a
this.
year and make no money.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
If if you're going back to what we said before, if you're basing it on lead time, how it feels, what pressures you've got against you, are you turning work away because you can't facilitate it? Those are the deciding factors.
Yeah.
And to Joe's statement before, if you know your numbers, then the profitability part of it's going to take care of itself.
Yes.
Yeah, I would base it nothing to do with revenue.
Yep.
Because a lot of businesses, right, and this is how I used to do it. I'll be really busy. I'll be marketing. I'll be posting stuff up, and it'll be all be done good. And all of a sudden, I'm too busy. So, oh crap, I've got to stop marketing because I'm so busy. So then I get through all that massive backlog of work. That's all done, and all of a sudden it's quiet. Oh, I've got to market again, and then I'm flat out busy again because I've marketed, and it's like you can't keep doing that. And so we had to because it's like I'm on the tools, and then I'm marketing, and it's like that's when you know you got to grow. And when you're working on yourself, it's like okay, I'm flat out, but I've only got I'm booked out. So it's like I'm working at 130% capacity. So if
Mm,
I get another staff member, they'll take care of that extra 30%. But then there's another 70% that I need to fill of that employee. That's what makes it hard. And it's like, if you're not continuously marketing and like steadfastly marketing, and like delegating so that you can call customers, you can email people, get back to them soon enough. It's like you won't be able to fill that extra 70% that of the slack that you're hiring them to do. And that's not your employee's fault. That's your fault for not managing the business well enough. And so we got to find ways like, how do I get new customers? Do I got to walk the streets? Do I got to post stuff up online? Do I got to cold call people? All that kind of stuff. And that's the battle, I believe, where we're like, okay, we need someone, but we don't have enough work for that person yet. So I just need to trust that I've got the systems in place, the marketing pillars in place, so that I can draw in more customers, so he can or she can do that extra work that we're going to get in. It is always a risk. There's always a risk to hiring.
There is a risk, and there'll be a huge amount of fear, especially on that first and
Oh,
second
yeah.
one. Like it's massive, and I don't discount that for a second. Like it really, really is tough. It really, really is scary. But I agree with Joe. The second the smallest amount of allotment of time is freed up in some way, shape, or form, you will fill that with a task within yourself that's going to bring in more business. Especially if you're doing these things with intent. If you finally get this guy set up and he can start washing wheels while you're doing the rest, and then all of a sudden you've got 30 minutes, don't just sit on your ass. Use that 30 minutes, especially at the beginning, because it's tough to fill those spaces in that 70% that Joe mentioned.
Yeah.
If you've got time, you've got an hour that morning, and I remember when I very first started, even before we were mobile, the first 6 months I was in a pokey little corner of my uncle's factory in Hallam, and there was days there where I'd have a half day or a full day and I've got nothing. I was walking the streets, man. I was door knocking on every single business that
Yeah.
was in that like immediate walking distance area. Everybody knew my face, and I made sure of it. And I knew that, and I was doing that every week or two. Like if there was the thought of, does a car need cleaning or any sort of description around car something, I wanted them to think of my face or my name or Street Appeal Detailing. So if you have spare time, don't sit at home. Walk the streets, make
Yeah.
calls. Like, even if it's I said before about not taking on jobs that you don't want to do at the beginning, you kind of have to, and I did. Like
Yeah.
I was door knocking and visiting dealerships and doing all these sorts of things. You have to just put that time in. If you haven't got work, there's a reason for it. Make it happen.
And if you want more coding jobs, like we were at a position where it's like we got a lot of people wanting us to code their cars, and we can't fit them in soon enough because we're doing so much of pre-sale detailing, and we don't do any dealership work, nothing. It's all privately owned. So we don't have. So when COVID came, we were kind of okay because we didn't have a lot of eggs in one basket. We were facilitating all these different jobs. We did okay, and it could have been very different though. And so, if you want more of a particular job, it's like, we'll stop doing the other jobs that you're doing so you can facilitate that time for it.
Yeah.
And so we started upping our prices for detailing, getting rid of the smaller 1.5 hour, 2 hour services that always attracted the customers that wanted the full detail done in 2 hours, which is just not doable. Like you can't do it. And you also put your staff under heaps more pressure. They're freaking out because it's like, how do I do a good job? The boss is going to get cranky. The customer will be cranky. They're going to hate their job. They're going to make them anxious. And so we started removing the detailing and some of the services there, upping the prices. So you start weeding out those customers. So you're filling your days with better paying jobs. But at the same time, you got to practice what you preach. If you're going to charge more, you got to do a damn good job. You can't just wait for it to roll. And like you said, Glenn, walk in the streets, mate. Like, how scary is that?
Oh man, if you're gonna learn to do shit that's uncomfortable, be a business owner, because that's like it's really tough. Man. It really, really is tough, and it's scary. And if you're not a people person right from the get go, it's difficult and it's nerve wracking. But what do you want?
Look, I hated public speaking. Like when I was young in school, I could not do it. I remember I did not sign up to any of those responsible, like school captain or whatever, because I just could not do public speaking. And now, like, I forced myself into doing it by running a business on the phone, getting caught on the spot, walking the streets. And walking the streets got us some of our best customers. Walked in, hey, Oh, can you do my car right now? Oh, geez, I wasn't planning on that. Like, okay, yeah. And then all of a sudden, he's bringing all these awesome cars. Like, it's because
Yeah.
you put yourself out there. You make yourself vulnerable. If you want to attract people with nice cars, they want to see who are most likely entrepreneurs, business owners, hustlers, people who work their butts off. They want to see you doing the same, you know?
Yeah.
But if you're just waiting for your TikTok videos to do really well, which, hey, most of them do, or waiting for people to like your Instagram posts, it's like, yeah, that'll get you some customers, but you still need to work on some other things too.
Yeah, that's it. Look, off the back of that, I just kind of twigged that I'd done the same thing here without even realizing it. When I got to the sunny coast, we didn't have a shop yet. We had our Instagram for the Melbourne shop, obviously.
Yeah.
Everything was, but I'd done a separate one for the sunny coast. I don't even think I had, no, I didn't even have business cards yet because I didn't have an address. I got some business cards printed with no address. And I just knew that I knew we would be in this industrial complex. We're just waiting on some things. And so I did the exact same thing. I just went and, I did it a bit more intentionally. It wasn't just blanket walking around to everywhere, but I went through Google Maps and I went and found businesses that I thought would have, what's the word, like work that would flow both ways. So I went around and found the vinyl wrap shop and the other guys that do
joint
fabrication.
ventures.
Yeah, fabrication work on four-wheel drives. They're going to want PPF. All of those sorts of things, and just go and put your face out there. Go and say hello to these people, even if it's not with the we do PPF and come give us a call, but just like, hey man, I'm starting to shop in the area. Can you tell me what you do? Like, what do you guys do here? Do you know how many, like, of the 3 or 4 that were the real key ones for me, I spent like 45 minutes there talking to them about what they do. I want to know about their business and see what they do and why they do it and why do you do it that way, and all those things build rapport with with people. So yeah, don't negate the face-to-face conversations. It goes on.
I've got businesses like down the road that never knew we were here for like 5 years.
Yeah.
Because I didn't go out. I didn't get my butt out the blinking door and go see them.
Yeah.
You know, not their fault. They weren't looking for a detailer.
No,
but now
right.
they knew we're here. They've used us. They've come to us because it's like we're top of mind and stuff like that. And you got to put yourself out there. You can't say you're hustling if you're not actually physically getting out there, putting yourself on the line. Like that's what changes. And you listen to podcasts, listen to how a lot of these massive companies started. They were all putting themselves on the line. They were making themselves vulnerable. They'll try new things. They'll get out there. They'll failing. They'll making mistakes. They'll learning the hard way. And that's the difference, I believe, of a successful business owner is they learn from their mistakes. They don't just mope and like feel sorry for themselves and never get back up again. They get back up and they find a new way to do it.
Yeah, 100%.
No, very nice. Even when I started PPF, because I'm nearly the only one in town doing it, I went and visited the other dealerships and stuff to get the word out there pretty much. So that's brought in work on that behalf. So, and gets the word out. Everything's word of mouth around here. So,
and you might find too, you might not get the dealership work, but you'll get the work from the salespeople that actually refer you on the side. Look, we have people who work in dealerships, so we clean and like have coded their cars on a regular basis because they know they don't want to trust the people in their own dealership. It was just really weird, but it's like, you know, if you can win people over like that, that speaks volumes. And yeah, it's interesting.
No, it was, yesterday was a great example. The dealership or this guy sends his cars elsewhere interstate to get wrapped. So he's like, can you do mine? I'm like, might not be as good as them, but I'll give it a go. So
wow.
Stuff like that. So, but yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. Where else are we up to here?
I think there was a good question, Dale, if I can jump in, about quality, staff's quality of work. I find that's a big reason why people don't want to hire. He just never could do a good job, like never as good as me, was never up to standard. Was there a question like that? How
do you entrust that an employee's work is high quality and not ruin a customer's car?
Yep.
So, how do you put trust into an employee deliver the same quality as you?
Yeah, that's basically the same sort of gist, isn't it?
Yeah.
Go, Joe.
same quality as you as the business owner. They'll never put the same love and passion as you. Maybe not never. That's a big word, saying never. Sorry, I'll take that back. But you can never expect it. You can never like expect every day they'll put the same energy, the same. They'll think the same as you. People won't. They're employee. They're doing it for money to pay their way and all that stuff. They're not doing it for the same passion as you. They don't have the same drive as you, and they shouldn't because they don't run your business. You do. I'd be worried if the guys were like as driven as me and wanting to do what I wanting to achieve what I want to achieve. Because like, who's running this thing? Me or you?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
is there going to be a coup here? You're going to kick me out or what? But like, and so that's your job. That's my job. If my team are dropping the ball and not finishing jobs right, leaving things undone, not cleaning in the right areas, it's like, well, okay, I need to set up provisions to make sure the guys check over their work. I need someone to be looking over it. I need to trust someone else, or first it was me, where I'd look over all the jobs. But it's like, I can't be that bottleneck. I need one of my team to be able to do that and be able to trust the team member to do that. And so, obviously they're going to be trained well. If you don't train someone well, if you don't put the effort into train someone, one-on-one training, then they're not going to be that great. Expect results. And even if they are trained well, still expect, mistakes is what I meant to say. But yeah, it takes time to train people. It's easy to forget how long it took you to learn, took myself to learn. It's easy to forget the mistakes I made. People will make the same mistakes. And especially if they haven't had any real experience. And that's why it comes down to hiring the right person, like Glenn was talking about earlier too, like depending on their character and their interests is a big part of it. But you've got to make sure you set them up to win. You have good training material, you're monitoring them, you're training them well, you're encouraging them, and then you're setting goals, you're setting milestones. All right, let's start in the wash bay first. You work your way through the process. Don't get them on the buffing machine straight away. It's like that should be a reward in a way for doing so well over here. As long as they want to be machine polishing, it's like you're killing over here. Yes, we'll now advance you, because if they don't understand how to wash a car, damn, they're not gonna be able to know how to polish a car. So it's like, you're checking over process is so important, and making them a bit more accountable, making them hold a bit of weight. It's like, accountable for when they get praise, like they should be getting the praise of how good that job is. But then it's saying in the same thing is like, well, then they should be responsible for when the job's bad. They can't hide behind you all the time. Like, it's like, hey, come with me. I'm here to support you. Like, if there's a disgruntled customer, I'll come out and I'll be there with my crew and I'll stand up for them. I'll take the bullet for them. I'll stand up for them. But it's like, hey, you need to see how upset this customer is, because this is what I'm dealing with right now. I'm dealing with this person being so cranky, swearing at me, flipping, spitting in my, like, not spitting in my face, but just going crazy. Some people can, because of your stinking negligence. Like, you overlook these things. Like, so it's like, I'm gonna wear the cost and I'm gonna take the fall, but you need to see what I'm experiencing. And that really, really helps. Take them on the journey with you, for the highs and also the lows. And so I think, like, we have checklists, and then we have a check over list. So a check over list is they go out and I have a list of things of, like, make sure that in between the driver's seats and the center console is fully clean. You can't see any debris. Make sure the start button is clean. Make sure when you close the doors, there's no water dripping down on the paintwork. Make sure there's, like, just a little check over just before they park the car up for the customer. So if you're just relying on someone's memory, and because you told them once they should know, that's how my dad does it. And I'm like, Dad, that doesn't work. You can't do that, mate. Like, you've been in business for a long time, but it doesn't work like that. You need to have systems, or else they're going to hate you.
yeah. Exactly the same way that that Joe just said. Like, for us, it was a podcast I listened to years back, but if you go into it initially that I'm going to hire someone, and if we can get them to 75% of me, I'm sweet. Like, I can make that work, and I can grow off the back of that. If we can get them to that, that's going to be awesome. They're not going to be anywhere near that at the start, and that's where it comes to training and repetition and all of those things. It's gonna take them 10 sets of wheels before they get to the point where they're anywhere near confident with cleaning a set of wheels. Like, it's all of that stuff that comes through, and then after time, it's about checking their final result at the end of the day.
Mm.
The guy that's been with us the shortest amount of time, he's at the point now where he's getting proficient with a polisher. What are we? I wrote down that he's been with us 4 months. He's getting to the point where he's proficient with a polisher. He can put coating on. He can do all those things. But we're super thoroughly checking his work at the end. And even like we have quite basic packages for like a pre-sale detail. And we usually allow 4 hours or 8 hours, depending upon which one. We had a 4-hour one come in the other day, and we're like, okay, man, you've got all day on this car. You want to do this package, you know what you need to do. It's a 4-hour job usually. If we can get near that, awesome. If you don't and it takes you all day, that's okay too. Let's just see where you're at. So,
Yeah.
I think it also comes back to like hiring your first guys and all of those sorts of things. Learning these things takes time, and setting an expectation around how long a job's going to take. Initially, you have to throw that out the window because it's just not going to happen. Give them time to learn, and give them the time with vehicles and the repetition across all sorts of manufacturers and all sorts of vehicles to really allow them to have an understanding of, okay, I'm here, but I need to be here. Like, it's taken me 6 hours and I need to get closer to 4. What do we need to change? What do I need to do faster? What do I need to, where do I find some efficiency within this? That it just takes time. It takes time.
It does. Good
Probably
things take time.
yeah, probably a good one off the back. Saying sort of similar. How do you approach training staff from scratch into pros, then leaving them with the skill?
Yeah. For us, it's just with the absolute basics and assuming they know nothing. Which, I mean, for us, and if it was a choice from me, well, it is a choice from me, but we would prefer to hire a staff member with no experience now than we would one with
Yeah.
any knowledge at all. I'd rather do it from scratch. Granted, back to what we said before, it's a short-term cost with a long-term gain. But yeah, for sure, it's about starting at the basics, repetition. Okay, cool. So they can clean a set of wheels properly and wash a car down to the the generics of washing a car. Okay, so then let's expand upon this and start. What do we do to clean inside badges, or how do we tackle door jams properly? Or if and to varying degrees, like, are those door jams not that bad? Do they just need a rinse out, or do we need to get some acid and APC in there, like, to really clean them up? Like, what is it going to take to get this clean and detailed to a result that we expect? Teaching them from scratch is just time, repetition, and accepting that they're never going to fall within your timeframes that you would like for months, basically.
Yeah.
No,
And like, if they say they're done, and like you just say they're done, and it's only been 2 hours, and you'd get done 2 hours, but they've done it in 2 hours, I'd be scared. I'd be like,
Yeah,
oh no, what am I walking into?
yeah, that's right. That's right.
And it's like, look, it's nice you think you're done, but what do you think about this?
Yeah.
And what do you think about that? What, like, do you think that's cleaned well enough? Like, why not? Like, I find asking questions that can only be answered with an explanation, not yes and no questions.
Yeah. What do you
And
see here?
yeah, that's exactly right. Getting them to think, and I'm always one to be like, hey mate, how'd you go with the fuel cap, or how'd you go with this, or and sometimes they can. At first, I'd be a little bit like, and my foreman realized this. He was like, now, Joe, now I understand why you always would ask those questions, because now he's doing it to the team. And it's because it's something that I know it's something I would maybe miss, or I would forget, or
Yeah.
because some fuel caps you can push on and open, but some, stupidly enough, you got to go inside, find the lever, or because of Volvo or Citroen, man, you need YouTube to figure out where those levers are, and like, it can be so crazy. And yeah, so it's just it's setting your team up to win, and to be there to help them,
Yeah.
and to not forget what you were like when you first started. That's the biggest one.
Yeah,
Humility.
there has to be some forgiveness there around. Yeah, you're teaching someone that knows nothing from nothing.
Mm.
Yeah, it is exactly that. Man, what I was just going to say. Oh, something else that actually, that same podcast and from years and years and years ago, have them just when they think they're finished or done, as you described it, Joe, just tell them to sit in the driver's seat. Just sit there,
That's good.
sit in the driver's seat and tell me what you can see. Is there still like some dust there or something that's settled or a smudge on the bottom corner of the
Yeah.
windscreen? And walk around the outside to look into the interior. Half the time you don't see smudged glass unless you're on the outside anyway. Like those
Mm,
sorts of things, to really take in a car upon completion makes a world of difference, because it's hard to see the big picture when you're cleaning a pedal. Like, yeah, it's
that's right.
it's it's about standing back and seeing what you've done.
Good learning process. And what else? I think we're nearly done. There was one more.
You had one there about police check
We got.
before
I
hiring.
was going to ask that one. Yeah. Do you do
Uh,
police checks
I
prior to
don't.
hiring?
I
I'm,
don't.
I've never done it.
Yeah.
I do Facebook checks.
Yeah, I do Facebook checks too.
And man, sometimes they're better than the police check, I reckon.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Look, I think it's value to mention, like, unless you have contracts or customers that require it, I don't see the point.
Yeah.
Everyone has a past, and I
Yeah,
honestly
that's
think
right.
that you can tell more about a person about, by the way they act or the things they say, or, getting like, there's so much that comes out when you're having a trial day with someone.
Mm,
And even so, like when I was in Melbourne, and it's like I understand that not everyone's going to have this accessibility right from the beginning, but having the trial day guy working alongside one of your other staff members, because they're no longer then there with the boss, so to speak, the things that come out in conversation between those two guys as a reflection at the end of the trial day is astounding, because the pressure's off.
yeah.
But yeah, like, if I think people's morals are their morals. If it's a guy that's gonna steal $5 out of the center console, he's gonna do that whether he's had a police check or not. So
Yeah.
it's more about the person, way more about the person.
It probably then backs on to how would you expect an employee to represent your business?
Mm,
For me, similarly what I think Joe was saying before, um, and and for me, on a grander scheme of things, it's about being very transparent with your staff. Like, I'm
yeah.
I'm an open book with my guys. They know exactly how much a car makes for us. They know what our costs were. They know, to an extent, they know that, did we shoot ourselves in the foot with that one? Did we do well with that one? All of those sorts of things. But it's uh, when you're talking about trusting them to represent the business, you have to show them what the expectations are. When you're going back out there to hand over a vehicle, or you're doing the initial point where a car's been booked in, we have like a set of questions. Is there anything that you're specifically concerned with? What are the problems with the car? Do you X, Y, and Z? If we do this, and this, is that going to be what you're looking for? And then on the handover part of it, okay, cool. So we've solved this, and this. We also did this and this for you. Have a walk around the car, show them what you've
Mm,
done, all of those sorts of things. And as a new staff member shadowing you, they will pick up on all of that anyway. They're going to start basically mirroring what you do, just out of,
yeah.
because they don't have any other way to do it. I think that comes back to training someone from scratch.
Mm.
If they don't have a way that they do it already, they're going to do it your way because that's what they've seen you do.
Yep, spot on. So
Mm.
Yeah.
I think that's
And
just
that's the
about all.
benefit of having someone that hasn't come from the detailing background. It's
Yeah.
like you're going to be the only example that they give. If you got a few details and one of them starts, the new guy starts doing things weirdly,
Mm.
washing the car in circles and just weird, crazy stuff, they learn it from someone.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're just literally like having a really bad day and they're just having a brain fart, and you just got to pull it up. I had that once before. I was, and I had to like run out and like, always stop, what you're doing right now. Like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah,
Because
for
I
sure.
did not teach you. If someone's going to wash their car, then we're having a massive chat, and it was like, if someone saw this, like, that is just so embarrassing because, like, once again, it comes back to your business. They don't care about you. They won't remember your name. They'll remember Joe from Clean Getaway or just Clean Getaway, so
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
Yep. I've had instances in in the mining industry where other guys come to your site from some other site and from a different company? They're like, oh, we were at this site and we did it this way. And I'm like, well, you're at this site now, so forget everything you learnt at that other site. This is how we
Yeah.
do it here. And that's probably very similar with other industries, but yeah, in different companies.
Yeah, you
how
got
they
to
work.
be. It's like you're open to new ideas. Like, hey, if you have an idea, let us know. Like, if there's something that you think we could do better, all ears, but run it by us first. You can't just start doing it. This is our standard. Because when it comes to, because when you're talking to a customer, you tell them you're walking where you should be, walking them through the process, like selling them the reasons why they should come to you. Everything you deliver, and so you're making a commitment to that customer, and then all of a sudden you see your staff doing something completely different. It's like, I've just lied to the customer. You've put me in a position where I've literally lied to the customer about how we do it, because you've gone off and done it some crazy, stupid way that you saw on, the internet, or you just got lazy or whatever it is. So everyone's going to be accountable to their actions. And like, we have our wash processes for different kind of jobs listed in our wash page. So if we say, hey, we're doing a complimentary wash on this one, guys, so that people aren't asking, oh, does that include the barrels? Does that include wheel launches? Should I do this? It's like, it's all on the wall. It's like, just go to the wall, go read it. So you gotta, if you don't have things written out for your team, then don't expect them to know what to do. Like, because you can't rely on people's minds. People got stuff going on in their life. Life throws curveballs, not only to you as the business owner, but to your team as well. And it's like, they need something to lean back on. And if you don't want them always asking you the same blinking questions every day, then write it out on paper, which is painful to do. But once you do it once and you're set,
Yeah.
and your business will elevate to a new level once you do that.
For sure.
Do you guys do like monthly staff meetings or anything like that? Don't really.
I don't.
Or weekly?
Kind of do it like when we need to. Like, if there's things that we're making little changes and like implementing something, or it's just we're noticing something's creeping in. It's like, hey guys, let's have a catch up. Like, we might just get them after lunch break. Like, all our team take lunch break at the exact same time. And then everyone's back at the same time. So we might do like a 15-minute, maybe half an hour team meeting. Sometimes we've done team dinners in the past. We have we have a catch up. Mia and I will catch up with our foreman and our office admin. So it's like a bit of a leadership team, so we can talk how the team's going, and chat them dinner and just get to know them more, and bless those guys. But yeah, it's like, if there is a problem, you do want to address it straight away. But it's good to pull the team together, like you said, Glenn, like letting them know the reality of it. Like, just because it's a $2,000 job, or maybe an $8,000 full PPF wrap, whatever it is, it's like, that's not all going in my pocket.
No,
like,
no, it's really not.
like, they need to know the reality of it. Like,
Yeah.
you got to redo that bonnet. That's a decent chunk of profit, if not all of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, people need to have that accountability, and understanding of like, wow, okay, yeah, there's a lot of money going around this place. I need to make sure I'm on the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, transparency it's scary, I think, for some people, but it's paid off dividends for me, for sure.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 100%.
No, very good. So, yeah, that's about all the questions we've got to run through, boys. So,
Yeah, cool.
anything to wrap up?
I don't think I've got anything more really to add. Yeah, I mean, aside from like, yeah, the guys out there listening know both my business and Joe's business names. If you've got questions or whatever, like, I mean, for me, it's easy just to reach out via the socials if you can. If there's a question here that we didn't answer or you want us to expand on, I mean, I'm sure Joe would be open to the same. Yeah, please just shoot us a message. Yeah, I'd love to help anybody we can.
It's great to see some of the questions are from quite reputable businesses as well, so they're obviously interested in.
Everyone
maybe
has the
looking
same problems, man. Everybody has the same problems. I was talking with a wrap shop in Melbourne, the business owner of that, very recently. They're massive and down into the nitty-gritties of wrapping it, whatever. We all have the same problems. Everyone has the same problems. So yeah, if it's something that you think that we've solved or can help with, just reach out.
Yeah.
Very similar
Yeah,
to.
that's exactly right.
Yep.
I was going to say, like, never judge. Well, never judge. That's just full stop. But like, yeah, like never judge or interpret a business's success by its Instagram reel or
Oh my
whatever.
God. Yeah.
Like, keep that just. It's a grain of salt. Like honestly, like you can see a really good business. They look like they've got the outputting the best stuff, and then next minute they're out of business. Or
Yep.
like, it doesn't even matter. Like it's not your business anyway. It's not my business. Just stay in your lane, learn from others, and focus on your business and focus on your team because that's what matters most. Don't react to what other people do. I've had people, yeah, I won't even go into it, but I've had weird stuff happen in the past, and it's just like I had to choose: do I stay in my lane or do I do I respond? Like politicians do, like where they indirectly respond and just crap like that. And it's like I'm gonna stay in my lane. I'm not going to involve this crap. Like it's only person's pleasing. It's one person. I don't give a stuff what they think.
The masses
So
don't even know.
yeah, that's right. It's so childish. Really,
Yeah.
it's childish. So stay in your lane and you work on your business. That's all that matters. We start generating wealth and you're getting time. You can take a day off and stuff like that. That's all that matters. And and your team's doing well. You're paying them well. People are winning. Your team are advancing and loving what they're doing. Customers are happy. That's what I want to strive for, and I believe a lot of detailers want to strive for too.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah,
agreed.
No.
Thanks, Dale.
No, great work, boys. You've done well. I think hopefully everyone gets something out of it.
Big one.
Yeah, always a big one when we have some extras. So
I think it's good, man. Are we the longest you've had on?
Possibly.
2 hours 40 minutes, something like that.
Possibly.
Hell yeah, that's great.
Yeah. No, we had no real limit for this, so that's probably why. But I love having extra guests, so I need to do more of it. So rather than just listen to me and someone else, so it's always good banter and everyone has different ideas. And yeah, in hindsight, I think we all have our struggles in similar areas. So yeah, you're not alone, probably.
Get on to Dale if you want us to do round 2. We'll think up something else to talk about.
Yeah.
No, it's been good. So yeah, thanks to you guys because you got busy shops and making the time. So done well. So
no problem.
Thanks for having us, mate. Appreciate it. Great podcast.
You've all done very well. So thanks everyone for listening. And if you got any more ideas on what else you'd like us to cover, feel free to reach out and we'll see what we can do. But yeah, this one's been really good and hopefully everyone gets something out of it. So all right. Thanks, boys, and we'll go and do something now.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you, mate.
Check on your employees.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, cheers. Bye.
Cheers. Thanks.
That was another episode of the Detailing Down Under podcast. Subscribe now for everything auto detailing in Australia.